Hey kids, it's Englentine, and I would love to thank you very much for watching the history of comic books. The last video was no success, but I still enjoy it, so here I'm going to talk about the Yellow Kid, the character and the book. Created by Richard F. Outcolt in the comic strip Hogan's Alley, it was one of the first graphic illustrations to use word balloons to get across the thoughts and speeches of the characters. The Yellow Kid, on the other hand, had his thoughts and speeches printed on his shirt. It was supposed to mimic the billboards. It was a parody of billboards at the time. And this was such a huge influence on comic strips and comic books as they progressed. Two other things that the Yellow Kid was famous for starting on the back of the comic book was the words comic book. So this is really the first one that was identified as a literal comic book. And the second one, obviously because of the name, was the term yellow journalism. This came from the fact that there were two very popular newspapers running very popular strips of the Yellow Kid at the same time, because when Outcolt went over to Randolph Hearst's newspaper, he failed to secure the rights to the character. But the term didn't really find footing until the two newspapers started printing sensationalist news stories about the sinking of the USS Maine, and that's when yellow journalism took on the meaning of sensationalistic journalism. The Yellow Kid's real name was Mickey Dugan, and he spoke in the slang in the time, and it really reads like somebody who had no schooling whatsoever. And once again, his thoughts and such were put on his shirt to mimic advertisements and billboards at the time. He was bald-headed to mimic what was going on. There were lice epidemics in the slums of New York, so he was shown to be poor by shaving his head so he wouldn't have caught lice. After starting working for Hearst, Outcolt produced 3 Yellow Kid strips: Ryan's Arcade, McFadden's Row of Flats, and Around the World with the Yellow Kid. Each strip didn't last any more than 4 months, and most of this was due to the fact that the paper wars started dwindling, as well as Outcolt not being able to maintain ownership over the character began to lose interest. The Yellow Kid is also one of the earliest examples of merchandising. He was on all sorts of things: billboards, buttons, cigar cracker tins, matchbooks, chewing gum, toys, even whiskey. So he was really an advertising icon, which makes the fact that they were trying to lampoon advertising on his shirt all the more ironic. He was also featured in a play produced by Gus Hill based on McFadden Flats, which was made into a movie in 1927 and in 1935. Now, it's sometime contested. However, the last appearance of the Yellow Kid is generally realized to be January 23rd, 1898. It's this strip right here about hair tonic. And after that, the Yellow Kid appeared on a strip for the Casey Corner Kids Dime Museum, which is featured right here. He's the old man in the green shirt that says, "I've grown old in making this collection." I can't do the accent, I won't try. And he even popped up in the comic strip of Buster Brown, Outcolt's other popular comic strip character. After that, the Yellow Kid just kind of faded away, and sure, comic historians, people who realize the impact that the character had on the industry, they remember, of course. He was commemorated on a stamp, and even appeared in an issue of The Runaways where he was given superpowers. So welcome to the modern age Yellow Kid. Now let's get somebody started up and writing some good books about a character who began as the first, I can't even call him a social justice warrior, but he was one of the first characters to handle social issues. So there you go, kids. That's part 2 of my history on comic books. What did you think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want me to continue with the history of comic books? Let me know in the comments below, as well as please share. Share on Twitter, share on YouTube, share on Facebook, whatever you can to get the numbers up on these so it makes sense that I'm doing them. Also, if you do like videos like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Also, don't forget about our Patreon account or the VidMe page. Both of them have tip jars out, and each one of them gets patron-only content. In this case, we're going to be talking about the creator of the Yellow Kid on Throwback Thursdays. Fridays are first appearance Fridays, so we've got something special lined up for that also. So there are reasons to do this, and $1 gets you there. But whether you do or do not do that, thank you guys very much for watching.
Dig